beast! Ah!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage filmography podcast. This week we watched 1991's Zandalee, directed by Sam Pillsbury and written by Mary Kornhauser. And as always, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Megs.
And this film was a steaming pile of shit. I think that's fair to say.
Hot steaming pile of absolute shit.
There's not much that happens in this movie. It is about three people. Theory, played by Judge Reinhold, his wife Zandalee, played by Erika Anderson, and Johnny, his high school friend, played by Nick Cage. Johnny is an artist. Theory used to be a poet, but his father died last year and he has taken over running his father's company. Zandalee is sexually unfulfilled, we shall say, and really desperate for her husband to pay attention to her. But his work in the corporate world has made him impotent and boring, frankly. Johnny comes back into his life. He's an artist. He is dashing and everything that Zandalee is looking for. And so they strike up an illicit affair. And Theory, at some point, begins to realize that his wife is having an affair and even tells his friend Johnny, I ought to be upset about this, but I'm not. I'm glad that someone is being able to fulfill my wife. Zandalee pleads with her husband to go away on a trip, just the two of them. They go to the bayou. They are on a boat. They come to a little ramshackle bar, and sitting there at the table is Johnny.
Who's followed them like a creep.
Who has followed them like a creep. And Theory invites Johnny to come out on the boat with them. Zandalee is not happy about this, but they go. And Theory now has a gun, which he's pointing at everyone and shooting off random shots. And Johnny has the wheel of the boat and he takes a hard turn and Theory goes plummeting off and he gets stuck in the hyacinths and drowns. Zandalee has a lot of guilt about this, but that doesn't stop her and Johnny from having sex. She is walking to the church in her husband's raincoat. Johnny is following close behind her when Johnny's drug dealer shows up and shoots her. The end. Was that a fair assessment, Megs?
Yeah, that's a fair broad stroke of what happened in this movie.
The acting is terrible. The lead actress, Erika Anderson, is so wooden and so devoid of emotion that it's hard to sympathize with her character.
I agree. This movie actually made me really fucking angry.
Please explain why.
Like, I have big feelings about this movie because, like, okay, so first of all, this movie, we had to rent it on Vudu, Fandango at home. The synopsis on Fandango, I'm just going to read it because it's quick. Sam Pillsbury directs this steamy bayou drama about how poor, sex-starved Zandalee has an affair with her husband's boyhood friend, Johnny. You see, Zandalee's husband used to turn her on when he was a poet, but he wasn't a very good poet, and now he's a businessman, and he has no time for sex. Enter Johnny, and we have ourselves an extramarital affair. Like, that's literally it. I am really mad with the tone that this movie takes, because Zandalee, don't get me wrong, Erika Anderson was not very good at playing this character, but the character itself is this catalyst for these horrible things that happen, because let's be real about this. She's not just sexually starved, like, she's emotionally starved from connection with her husband. And and his father did die, but it's been 18 months since his father died. He had to leave his job at a university that he was teaching at to go and run the company. And he's just taken on all of that, but in the process has just turned a complete blind eye to her. And it's not like she's some like, demure housewife sitting at home spending her husband's money. Like, she has skills. She is a seamstress in the quarter. Like, she pays her fucking bills. This is a full-fledged woman who understands that her husband went through something and is not just starved for sex with him, but starved for connection with him. And we see in the first, like, 15-20 minutes of the movie before Johnny shows up, she's desperately trying to talk to him, form a connection. And then Johnny comes into the picture and says, "Oh, I'm going to paint you, Thierry." And let's be honest, his art is fucking terrible. I don't know who they hired to paint. I don't know if Nicolas Cage actually painted those things. They were garbage. And, like, somehow Johnny picks up on the fact that she's emotionally, like, stunted at this point, longing for something. But he goes about getting her in bed in an awful way. Like, it's very forceful. It's not, I mean, at the beginning, like, I guess, like, you see, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, so this is exciting. She's into it, blah, blah, blah. But it very quickly turns into, he is a controlling piece of shit. He's demanding that she leave her husband. There's another church desecration in this movie because he sexually assaults her in a church when she breaks up with him. Like, the second time they have sex in their house during a dinner party. The house that they live in, they share with Thierry's grandmother. And she's invited her beau to come to dinner. They've been seeing each other for however many years, and she's finally just announced it. And so Thierry and Zandalee also invite Johnny and tell him to bring, you know, his girlfriend or whatever. Enter Marissa Tomei. It's really the only time that we get to see her. And she's just this excuse, like, she's just a prop that's there. And, like, the women in this film are not treated as people. They're treated as objects. Zandalee is basically used as a catalyst for the death of her husband, and then ruining her life, and then she's, like, suicide by drug dealer or whatever. Like, this movie is not good. This movie is problematic, and I'm really sick and tired of seeing films where, like, they're trying to portray what eroticism is, but, like, that's not eroticism. That's just a controlling and abusive relationship that happens to have, you know, some steamy moments to it. Like, he fucking slaps her at one point because she's like, "I'm not leaving my husband." No, like, we need to, like, I'm so tired of films being made where it's a situation where the woman is looking for an extramarital affair, but instead of her becoming, you know, empowered through her own, like, sexual awakening, or because she's happy now or whatever, it's really just this, like, sort of allegory for, this is what happens when women cheat, men die, and lives are ruined. And I was not happy about it.
All of that is fair.
And like, this movie is
Although I do
awful.
want to just step back and say, you brought out that she's not just sexually frustrated, she's emotionally frustrated with her husband.
Yeah.
That's not shown. It is verbally said. She verbally says, "I am emotionally stunted and frustrated."
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have gotten that from her acting.
Nope.
Because she's terrible.
Yep. And, like, to be honest, like, this is foregoing the assault scene in the church. Nicolas Cage's acting in this movie left something so large to be desired. Like, it was disjointed. The timing was bad.
He doesn't have a grasp on this character. Either he is
No.
being chummy, friendly, or he's being overbearing, sexual predatory. And there's no in between. And let's talk for a second about the costuming, because it's fucking terrible. He's got this little goatee.
He looks like D'Artagnan. He looks like D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers, like, literally. But, like, his hair is a little bit like a mullet rather than, like,
he's got
waves.
This douche canoe of a fucking soul patch going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. And Judge Reinhold is, you know, he's doing his Judge Reinhold thing where he's not really sure what's going on, and, like, I'm a background character in my own life, and this movie is really bad.
This movie is really bad. And, like, listen, you might hate me for this, but, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I would rather be forced to sit through Wind Talkers a second time than this movie ever again.
Wind Talkers at least had a plot.
It at least had a plot. It at least had some kind of action. There was at least good acting. There was, there was a plot that wasn't, great. The writing wasn't great, but it was a story. You could tell A to B, and all the places in between.
I think we shit on Wind Talkers too much, because I don't think Wind Talkers is as bad of a movie as we make it out. You can't compare it to Zandalee. Zandalee is so horrible. So I didn't make many notes watching this. I did get excited when I saw Steve Buscemi as the side character.
Yeah. He was actually great. His parts were very good. So Steve Buscemi plays this sort of offhand character that just shows up randomly. He's actually an inmate at the Louisiana penitentiary. And I guess, I don't know if this is a true thing because I didn't live in Louisiana in the 90s, but in this movie, for the purposes of this set, inmates from the jail are taken for trash collection. And that's how we see him at the beginning. He's out collecting trash. And then at some point in the middle of the movie, Zandalee's character likes to run a lot. We see a lot of scenes of her running through the quarter on her morning jogs. There's one morning where she's driving or she's jogging, and she jogs near a construction site that Johnny is working at. So we know he's an artist, but I guess that's how he actually makes his money. It's the only time we see anything about him doing a job.
Right. He works for Southern Com, which is the company that Theory is an executive at.
Yeah, he's a cable installer is what he does. So while she's, on this jog or whatever, here comes Steve Buscemi. It looks like he's probably broken free from his trash duties, and he's stolen someone's stereo, and he's running through the quarter, giving the cops a run for their money. And then the last time we see him, she's standing at her husband's grave, sobbing, and he comes up and they have this little exchange where he basically tells her that everything that you did was wrong and it's all your fault. But he is still a treat in this movie. He's about the only one that is a treat.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, for the 30 seconds that we get to see her.
She's there for about 2 minutes, and that's, I had that written down. Marissa Tomei, yay!
Right, but the scene of hers ends with her sticking her tongue in Nick Cage's ear in
right.
I'm just going to be honest, a disgusting display for a group dinner.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Yeah.
I wrote down this movie loves naked women because in the very beginning, Zandalee is completely naked and dancing around the bedroom. And then Theory goes to a party where it's a bunch of naked women. And then Zandalee goes to a club where it's a bunch of naked women. And we could have done without so much nudity because it doesn't enhance the film in any way.
It doesn't. It lends absolutely nothing to the plot.
It's gratuitous.
Yeah. That's literally all it is. This movie is just subtle gratuity because there's not enough tension. There's no urgency really up until the very end. Yeah, it's just very, subdued, gratuitous nudity. And it's not necessary and it's boring.
There's also very little to lend itself to Theory's turn. So he recognizes that his wife is unsatisfied. He tells Johnny at the bar, I think she's taken a lover. And Johnny asks, who is it? And he says, for all I know, it could be you. But that's the same conversation where he says, I should be mad, but I'm glad that my wife is getting attention from someone. And then he and his wife go away on the boat, and all of a sudden he's got a gun, and he wants to shoot shit up. There's no emotional turn. There's no emotional stakes for him to suddenly have a gun.
Yeah. And let's talk about that scene for a second because it was really fucking weird, right? So him and Zandalee have gone to the bayou and they've, they're going in the morning, they're taking the boat to the bayou, and then they get to this little bar and Thierry's going in to go and grab a 6-pack. And the reason that Johnny shows up is because the bayou that they went to is a place that him and Johnny used to go to as children to go fishing. So when he tells Johnny at the other bar, I'm glad that there's somebody in her life, when he talks about, she's taking a lover. And he says, it's okay though. because we talked about it. We're going to work it out starting tomorrow. We're starting fresh. We're going to go to the bayou. He's like, oh, are you going to this bayou? The one where we used to hang out, all the good fishing spots. So like I think he knew that Johnny was going to show up. I don't think that he expected to see him in that bar, but like when that happens,
when he sees him in the bar, he literally says, "What took you so long?"
Right. And then they walk out and he says to his wife, you know, hey, look at this stray that I found. And then there's this scene where they like pull each other in close and like they slow dance with each other on the dock. And like
Theory and Johnny.
Yeah. So like you have this thought in your head, like, wait a second, does this have a happy ending? Like, are they going to become a throuple? And like, that's how this is going to, no. Like the dance was happy, and then, you know, they try to invite Zan in, and she's like, no, it's over. And then that's when Thierry pulls the gun out and he starts pointing it around, basically coerces both Zan and Johnny to get on this boat. He's drunk. He's driving like a maniac. This movie was unpredictable. If I had to give it one thing, if I had to give it one caveat, it was unpredictable. Because you didn't know what was going to happen from one moment to the next, because that's how bad the plotting was. So it wasn't like you didn't know what was going to happen by design. It's so poorly written that like it just jumps. Yeah, no, this movie is terrible. And then like after her husband dies, you know, when they go to they don't even actually have sex, right? Like they go to have sex and she's clearly not into it. He's clearly pressuring her and he's trying to tell her like, say my name. And she says her dead husband's name. So he stops and then he walks out. And then he sits up and like that's when she gets up and she puts her clothes on, puts on Thierry's raincoat, and that's when she goes to the church, I guess for absolution, and ends up dying. Like none of this movie had to happen the way that it happened. I don't know why it was written the way that it was written. I understand why it was like a straight to video release sort of thing, because it was just not good.
My husband walked in while I was watching it and he was like, is this the pan and scan version? And it's very clearly what you can rent on Fandango for $3.99 is a VHS copy that somebody scanned in and now it's digital.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, why would you spend the money to remaster this movie from a VHS?
I don't know.
Like I mean, if no one else ever watches this movie besides us after this, like you're really not missing a goddamn thing.
Like, thank God they did, or else we would have a hole in our filmography.
I mean, that's fair. I don't know if this film has ever been reviewed on a podcast before, but I can't imagine that anyone else would have anything good to say. And like I even went like afterwards to go and like read some reviews and see like what critics actually had to say, the people that had something positive to say about it. And it literally just boils down to straight white men saying that they like seeing boobs. That's basically what it is. That's it. And I'm so done with it, because that's not entertainment. There is no merit to that. There's no ingenuity in that. There's nothing unique about that. There's nothing original, new, nothing about boobs is cinematic to me. Like every woman fucking has boobs. Like stop. Like it's, again, like you said, gratuitous. It's fine. It would have been fine to see a nude scene. And again, the eroticism, quote, eroticism that they were going for was like, it wasn't even there. Like they were literally just showcasing
I did not find this
sexual relationship.
I did not find this film to be erotic in any way, shape, or form.
No. I found it, if anything, to be a little bit traumatizing.
Yeah. So what would we give this film?
Oh, it's an F.
And what's our caginess? Nick Cage?
It's a D. It's a D.
Yeah, you do get a little bit of what we expect from Nick Cage at the end when he's painting after Thierry has died and he's trying to get his artist mojo back. There's a little bit that peeks out, but otherwise it's just him being real creepy and douchey.
And because we've seen other movies of his that were filmed well before this one. And I don't know if it's just that the subject matter made it difficult for him to really immerse himself in the character, really lose himself in the personality. Because, I mean, I feel like that's what we see. anytime that we watch a movie with him, I feel like he's so engrossed in who this person is supposed to be that a lot of the time it works so well, and it's mostly seamless. Like that you have moments throughout most of his movies where you're like, yeah, this is completely appropriate. This is, but like the subject matter of this movie is so
gross.
Yeah, like it is. That's a good word. Gross. It is. It's just most of the time that I was sitting there watching it, I said "ew" like a ton of times. Like I don't know if maybe that was what prevented that Nick Caginess that we know and love from really shining through. But yeah, no, this was a very disappointing effort from him. This was a disappointing effort from Judge Reinhold. I love him. I love it. Like I decidedly love that man as an actor. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in what this movie was, in what it could have been, and what it decided to not do. Like it's just not good. It made me angry.
Well, there you go, audience. This movie has disappointed and squicked us out a little bit.
Yeah.
So if we would recommend skipping this one. If you want to kick us a few bucks, we're on Patreon at Not the Bees. And we are on Instagram at Not the Bees Pod, where we post pictures every week of the movies that we watch. So you can follow along. We'd love for you to follow along. And we'll be back next week with a decidedly better offering.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. And if anyone, listener, if you've watched this movie, if you have a take on it that we haven't addressed, or if you have a completely different take and you like this movie for whatever merits, like we'd love to hear a different side of it, whatever. So drop us a comment. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you, but otherwise, like Elizabeth said, skip this movie. It's garbage.
That's it for this week. I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Megs.
Catch you next time.